The Witcher 4 will introduce new regions, but the map will remain more or less the same size as The Witcher 3. The number of quests is also more or less the same as The Witcher 3. When you purchase through links, okay, whatever, I don't care for that. Let's go like this. The Witcher 4 will feature new regions, but the map will be around the same size as The Witcher 3's. So they kind of recycle a bit The Witcher 3 maps, because it's the same. Those are the same regions we rediscover, and yeah, kind of similar stories, I guess, that have similar NPCs in them. So yeah, maybe we recycle a bit of the stories too, but just a bit. CD Projekt Red teased that players will be able to explore regions in the north, like the village showcased in the trailer. Game director Sebastian Kalimba said the team want to deliver a super compelling experience. Yeah, we should be able to visit some other new places too, so everything doesn't feel the same. CD Projekt Red, they should just use some older like maps, regions, or castles or whatever, just so the game feels familiar. I think so. We connect Wild Hunt to The Witcher 4 a bit easier. What do you think? That's the right way to go. CD Projekt Red has confirmed that it will introduce new regions in The Witcher 4, but fans shouldn't expect a bigger map than the one featured in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Okay, so if it's not that much bigger, maybe not so many new regions to discover, but we'll see. In a recent interview with Easy Allies, game director Sebastian Kalimba and executive producer Gosia Mitrega spoke on the surprise reveal of The Witcher 4 at the Game Awards 2024 and the decision to make Ciri the titular Witcher and playable protagonist. When discussing the game open world, Mitrega confirmed that the development team is introducing new regions for players to explore. But if they introduce new regions, they have to cut out some of the older ones if the map size is kind of the same, I guess. That this makes sense? I think it does. So yeah, because you cannot have the same like map with new regions and the old ones too. The same size of the map, I mean. Mitrega also hinted that we could see the village in the trailer make an appearance, which is far north of the continent, meaning players could travel much further than Geralt did in The Witcher 3. Okay, so they cut some of the southern part, maybe, if we can travel north that much. So that means, I think the southern part is the bad guys. I forgot what they were called, the black armor, Nilfgaard. They cut some of the Nilfgaard out, maybe? I don't know. In terms of the map size, Kalemba, because there are the kingdoms of the north, which are in the north, and Nilfgaard in the south, is what I understand from the series and the books. But in the books, I didn't reach that much, that part. Anyway, in terms of the map size, Kalemba confirmed in a separate interview with Skill Up that The Witcher 4 is more or less the same as The Witcher 3, which if you played, you'll know it's pretty massive thanks Games Radar. Let's also check out this one. Okay, go.
Hello everyone, we are Easy Allies, and today we are joined by CD Projekt Red, who just revealed The Witcher 4 at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm Daniel
Very happy to be
Bloodworth.
here.
This is Michael Huber, and if you can introduce yourselves.
Yeah, sure.
It reminds them of work again. Damn, I hate this. What the hell? Stable volume, okay.
Sure. Gosia Mitrega, executive producer for The Witcher 4.
And Sebastian Kalemba, I'm the game director of The Witcher 4.
Nice,
Nice to meet
nice.
you guys.
And I want to keep this loose, so I'm gonna start off with a question that only we will know about.
Tell us a secret.
Did anyone else eat any more of that sandwich?
Oh, okay. That's funny.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah?
It, it landed downstairs.
They were
And
kind
there
of
were people
curious
that
what he will
just,
ask.
You know, grab it and
It disappeared, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like, have you watched Critters?
Yeah.
6-foot long sandwich
Yeah.
in their hotel
Okay.
room. last
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Get into the meat. Talk about
And
the
it was
elephant in
cut
the room
like a
already.
wedding cake,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The other fun little bit I wanted to get behind the scenes is the jackets that you guys stealthily had in the theater there.
Those are some
Yeah,
cool
that was the
jackets.
plan from the get-go. I remember, like, we've been talking
Looks a bit biker-like.
about this idea like 5 months ago. Kind of we're visualizing, right, like this moment. And actually the initial idea was exactly this. So two-sided, one black, this one, right? Which simply has only CD Projekt Red and the year.
Very intimate, just
Very
small
very
sign,
simplified. And the idea was that as soon as we drop the trailer, then we exchange it to the second side and show everyone the medallion on the back. And that was
That's
And
cool.
it actually went
That's a cool surprise for the fans, I guess.
better than we thought because we were recorded from the people that were just
Yeah.
row behind us. So then it was already
That
viral.
was
and it's like,
really
oh my
great
God,
surprise.
it's better.
Like amazing, you know, we didn't expect that.
Yeah, especially that it looked really awkwardish because we were so nervous and so excited that it was like, oh, my sleeves are going out and this was going on. So yeah.
I didn't think you guys could top the cyberpunk bomber, but these ones are even cooler.
Yeah.
We do love them. I will just stay with them.
I'm gonna sleep in this jacket tonight. Yeah.
I'm very comfortable actually. Also, so
Yeah. So how are you feeling now that you've finally been able to break the secrecy and everyone's watching it? And
I think they feel relieved.
We feel super excited. We feel super excited and
Yeah.
we're super happy because
Yeah,
first
Gen
thing is
5.
of course we've been like cooking this and we've been like
You guys kind of tried to sell a new NVIDIA GPU as well. Overpriced NVIDIA GPU as well, I guess. They have a partnership with them.
as I
Yes.
said, it was a secret, you know, we knew it from the sometime already, like Witcher 4 is coming, new protagonist and mutated characters, and we couldn't wait to reveal it finally to the gaming world. So we are super hyped, and also our team back home super hyped too, because most of them, they've been watching TGA together.
yeah, and it was, you need to remember that it was 2
That was an amazing show. I won't do it right now because it's a bit old news, but amazing games come out in 2025. I'm excited for most of them.
a.m. in
It seems like it will be a really great year, like 2023 and 2024.
Right,
our
yeah,
time
yeah.
zone. Yeah, so they were in the office, at home, blankets, pajamas,
Coffee.
kids, cats,
Exactly.
whatever is
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so and we were doing the streams and both ways, right? So
Yeah.
I was going to, but
This is
saying aloud,
perfect.
The Witcher 4 finally is
Perfect,
amazing,
perfect
yeah.
summer, perfect Christmas gift. I would even say because you know we just entered production like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
announced it with the coin, and
They just ended production. Damn, that's great. So they have a bit of post-production, I guess.
and then
Refining things only.
you know this right, and it seems like the response is great. Is super.
Yeah, I'm really happy for them. Hopefully they just don't let the game come out with bugs and they release it sooner than it needs to, like they did with Cyberpunk. Hopefully they don't repeat the Cyberpunk situation all over again. Maybe they learn from it. That will be good.
Positive, and we are very, very, very happy.
Has there been anything that somebody's picked up on that's you've been surprised by yet?
Actually, not. I'm not that surprised. I'm actually.
the Gwent part.
Oh yeah. They're like, oh, maybe that one. And the second thing, like, there are some really cool comments. Like, for example, I love the one. He's gonna stick with me for a long time.
I don't like as much Gwent, maybe as other people, and maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but the rest of the game is pretty great. It really brings you into the European village atmosphere, maybe of the medieval ages, because right now it's not so grim anymore, but still
People noticing the bathtub at the beginning.
Yeah.
still the atmosphere is somewhat there with the legends and the myths, and they still go on even in Transylvania here in my country.
I think on that,
was- yeah,
So
I
it
told
must
you
have
that.
been
Yeah.
commenting
right?
like,
Because
oh
it's
yeah,
not
that you can tell is a Witcher, right?
Yeah.
Or is they're gonna
The
drop
second
something.
I saw that tab, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we got Witcher
And
time.
now we were thinking like, okay, so now we need to use it every time. So it's like a thing. now.
Like we are even having fun like that. We need to have this minor quest about the producer that makes bathtub and send them around the world, you know. So yeah, that was the funny comment.
I was actually pretty surprised because it was less than the 24 hours right now, and there are so many cosplays already, like
Wow.
posting
Yeah.
parts amazingly.
It's happening so quickly, yeah. So it's not even 24 hours
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
Which is amazing.
Wild.
So thank you for everybody doing that. It's so cool.
We're very happy.
Yeah.
I thought when the trailer hit, I was convinced it was the Witcher remake. You know, I was getting like Princess Ada vibes a little bit. I was like, oh,
Damn, it will be great if the Witcher remakes have this Witcher 4 graphics. That will be crazy, but I don't think that's possible. That's only in my imagination.
Yeah.
Because I thought because you had just gone into production, it's like, oh, that can't be why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that too.
We made it.
Yeah.
We made it.
I mean, it will be amazing if they remade from zero Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 with Witcher 4 graphics, which now they already have, and because they have the engine optimized for the Witcher 4.
So was that
And the Unreal Engine 5, I think, was used for the Witcher 4.
intentional with this trailer?
And hopefully it brings kind of the same atmosphere and graphics, or even better, of what the Witcher 3 had.
At all to kind of just like play on those expectations?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The big idea was actually to make the suspense, you know, to slowly unpackage, right? Like, you know, to slowly reveal. And also, super important thing was actually to start with this parallel montage between Mioni and Ciri, because we wanted to actually make it in a way that the audience will realize that there is something common between them, between Ciri and Mioni. So that's why also Ciri is like really kind of empathetic, right? She really feels it. She understands the stake. You know, there's the father. You know, you can think that you can be in her own shoes by listening to father talking to daughter. This kind of archetype, right? So
yeah. And then tell us about that kind of trailer distinction there of the in-engine on unreleased NVIDIA hardware, and like how representative of this, you know, compared to like what you're thinking your cutscenes will look like.
So it's a pre-render, of course, in the engine. This is a custom build. We work on the Unreal Engine 5, but the build is custom there. The Epic is helping us both on the development of the game itself, and we're working hand in hand. And here for the trailer, they also help us, and together, of course, with the Platish studio, right? And the team, and a great team there. But the thing is that
So they build a trailer with another team, is what I understand. Like kind of what the Witcher 3, what they did on the Witcher 3.
it is pre-render and engine, but the assets are from game, right? So this is
The assets are from the game, okay.
also the experience we are presenting there.
So we'll see all these armors and sword and everything, and the monster in the game. That will be cool.
It's more or less what you can expect from the side content in the game, and all the characters you have you've experienced with Immune.
I just hope that the difference from the trailer to the in-game graphics is not that big.
Giovanna, but all the other actually characters in the village itself, so Stromford, and then the Bauk. This is all will be an experience in the game, not one-on-one, because this is a custom made for the this story, coherent and complex in the 6 minutes. But everything you've seen then,
literally
the inspiration is from the game, and it's a side one. It's a side content.
Nice.
Really good bog.
So if it's a side quest and is this good, that's great news. It will continue the Witcher 3 tradition, maybe, to have side quests as good as the main quests.
Super intense.
And literally, like every NPC, like including Bauk, the monster, like all the environment around, it's literally the game.
Also
assets.
the look, right? The look is the direction we go. Again, we are still still soon in the development, so it will change. So it might be not one-on-one, but this is totally the what we are aiming for.
Like that was, of course, a huge challenge to be able to develop it.
Of course, they did the trailer just to give the gamers a feel for the game, of how the game will be.
You know, in engine already, but also it helped us a lot when it comes to like establishing the art direction for the game
itself,
and kind of establishing this quality that
I get a feel for the art direction
we are aspiring to have in the entire game. We wanted to like push the bar as much as possible, and we believe that it's something that everyone is proud of internally.
So one of the things that I definitely noticed, and I told you, like when you were asking me,
hopefully we still get these choices we had in The Witcher 3. Lots of choices with different consequences.
right away, is that Ciri is clearly older. Are you talking at all about how much older? And then of course, a Witcher doesn't age the same as a normal person. And
it's a few.
They don't age the same, or the numbers don't mean the same thing. So if they are if Geralt is around 100, then he's older. He's considered older, or is what I don't understand, how fit he is in his 100 years old, if that makes sense. Because I think they grow old too. Because if they don't become like weaker and weaker. That means they don't grow old at all. So they grow old. So I don't think Geralt in his 100s is as fit as he was in his 50s, if that makes sense. So still they grow old, even if they age slower than any human being.
2 years later,
Yeah.
right? We don't want to give with specific number right now, but
Mhm.
we will at some point. It's a few years later after Wild Hunt.
We already saw in the last stream, in the last video I published about The Witcher 4, kind of whole series and how old Geralt is when The Witcher 4 action happens.
And yeah, mutants do not age that, but
You can see at the end here in the playlist if you want to watch that.
please keep remember that we showcase that her eyes are mutated,
Mhm.
Right.
but the way you left her in the Wild Hunt, she wasn't. That
Mhm.
means something, right?
Something happened. Yeah.
And
Right.
definitely we will want to really let the players experience what the becoming Witcher means, right?
Hopefully, so something happened in between those games that make her become a Witcher. So hopefully we also see that in the main story or even DLC. Hopefully we can see that in the game. Hopefully we can play that part in the game.
And that's good.
Because that's really interesting to see what really happened, because she's so special. She has this big magical potency.
Going to be a part of the game, part of the
I really want to see how she mutated, how she became a Witcher. It was any incident, or it was without incidents, or yeah, it will be interesting to see.
experience. So yeah. And she has mutated eyes
Mhm.
and the full gear
Yeah.
already kind of representing the Witcher craft. You know, what does it mean to be a monster slayer and the higher professional for the coin. With 2 swords on her back, right? With the medallion, with full gear. Even, you know,
Mhm.
there are some elements of this armor are inspired by the wolf scuba, the wolf armor by Geralt, right?
Yeah.
Let's say the shoulder pads, right?
The armor is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's for sure grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's medieval, of course. Medieval, like, but it's really unique. Still looks unique.
Looks grizzled for sure. Been through some things.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
not the best day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a different medallion.
Oh,
for
yes.
sure. Yeah. So you want to talk about the school there at all? Or?
No, it's
But it is a lynx, right?
It is,
I can
yeah.
confirm that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, the debate between the cat or the lynx.
Yeah. It is a Lynx medallion, but we cannot tell you more details right now because it's a pretty important part
Yeah.
in the game in the Witcher
Mhm.
4.
Oh, so we get to see that, how she became a Witcher. That's really cool. So she became a Witcher of another school, and will be really cool to see what happened with Geralt and how she became a Witcher of another school. What he said about this and everything related to that, and what Yennefer said about her becoming a Witcher of the Lynx school.
It's a part of the experience, so you'll get to know it as like
Mhm.
some point. But yeah, it's a Lynx
No
medallion.
rush.
Yeah.
Can you tell us or tease us anything about Gwent?
We love it, right? So I guess this is our question. We really love the game.
Yeah, I love
And
Gwent.
we also
Yeah.
I don't really like that much Gwent. I think it's a bit of fun, but well, I'm a bit biased because I don't like card games at all in real life. So yeah, but yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's kind of cool. It's like a little distraction for me from the main story, which is cool. Even if you can get to bet on it, as I understand. Yeah, I think this was the case. You can bet on the games, and if you win, you'll get some more money. So yeah, this is what I remember.
That's
So
awesome.
really carefully always listen to the community, and which we love, and it's amazing one. So this we can also think say.
But did they improve it as well? That's my question. They improved Gwent, or they made it cooler?
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone will be disappointed about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like you know, it's a part of the experience, right? So
Mhm.
absolutely. Gwent, we also love Gwent.
Yeah.
So
It will be cool if they implement it in a side quests, like they did. Spoiler with the Blood Baron. Like if you win, you get more information about that quest. If you lose, you don't, or things like that, which is like reward related. That will be awesome.
Yes.
We
good.
cannot imagine.
Those are facts, right?
Good.
The trailer does allude to some combat things other than just the swords. We see her do some magic that seems a bit different for sure,
Yeah.
as well as the chains. Anything you want to talk about there?
Yeah, we can start. You want to start?
No, but I will be hype about the chain part.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, like good catch, right? For sure, the things that we can talk right now is the chain. Obviously, it's not only the chain as a utility tool that comes from the school, but also it's a
Also, we'll have different weapons because she's from a different school. She's a witcher from a different school. That's cool. That's amazing.
pretty cool. We refer also to the very first initial trailer we released 20 years
Because we have some variety. We should also have the same weapons as in The Witcher 3, or kind of the same weapons, and also some new ones like the chain and some more tools that makes the game more tactical.
ago for Striga,
Against
which
the
is
monsters.
inspired heavily by a short story by Andrzej Sapkowski when Geralt is literally using the silver chain to fight Striga. So that is a kind of segue. That's one thing. Second thing, for those that don't know, Ciri is a pretty special being. I mean, she's the source. That means that she has this elder blood and she's a pretty powerful human. And like in this world there is a magic, and there is a source that you can control to be able to catalyze it and use it and create a spell, like Yennefer.
So that was the source in the video on the bottom right corner. That green thing she pulls towards her.
Trees or other mages in this
That's so cool.
world, and Ciri as the powerful source, after being mutated, she is also able to use this magic. So as Geralt was used to use signs, which are like simplified magic.
And sorcerers were say even worse about it.
Yeah, exactly. Trees even in the books, Trees actually makes jokes out of his magic, right? But that's fun fact when we are geeking out. But Ciri is literally like using the energy that actually in that case in the trailer she's using out of the water, out of the stream, which is one of the elements that that is like kind of like a part of the source. So she's.
So we have like an animism type of thing where we can pull energy out of almost anything in the nature maybe, and it will be different like from source to source, from one type of living being in the nature to another, like from a tree to water. Maybe we can pull some other type of energy from trees and some other from waters, like we can see in the trailer. Some other one from I don't know, from fire. That will be cool, and all these elements, and it will be different from each one. That will be amazing to see.
Like kind of extracting them.
We should be able to do some cool magical things with cool magical effects in the game at some point. Maybe not at like in each combat situation, but at some big moments in the game, like kind of maybe scripted, but yeah, if it's too overpowered, that would be cool to see.
Energy out of
to really show how powerful she is.
This particular element and kind of catalyzing to create a bolt to be able to build this opportunity window and defeat the monster. And the monster is named Bauk, right?
Yeah, and on the top of that, what we tease there, is that she's also younger than Geralt, right? She's taught by him, but she's a bit more agile. You can see it, and more with the passion and care with what she does, right? I really love the cutting head moment because you can see all the emotions there and the anger and everything in. So I think that's a little bit new, and it will have effect on the gameplay and how you play.
Awesome.
It gives us a lot of space as a creators, right?
Yeah. But also when you
lots of room for creativity.
When you spot it, there is the Quen at some point when she bounced back the one of his piercing arms, and then she is doing like some kind of a pirouettes that are like. That are like a part of the way that Geralt was. So you can tell that there are some similarities.
Do they learn pirouettes in the Link school, or that's just from Geralt? That's the question. Like they have similar type of training from the Link school of Witchers, or she just got it from Geralt?
Yeah.
That definitely she was trained by her foster father, and
so that's the confirmation right there.
And so we wanted to actually make this in a way that yeah, okay, there is some similarity, some common denominators there between them, but at the same time, she is, like Scotia mentioned, super passionate, super determined, and when she, she's always choosing to deal with the like a bigger evil, like, you know what I mean. She's very into it. She's very engaged, very, very passionate about what she's doing. Right.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know how much you're going to get into this, but shouldn't Siri be
Ask nasty questions, please. Like, get lots of insight from them. Try to get lots of insight as much as possible, please.
an empress or something like that? How are you going to do? Because we ended up on very different
Yeah, we did.
endings, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so, did you choose a canon ending, or is there just some, after a certain amount of time, the paths just merge again?
We cannot tell you more right now,
Yeah.
but definitely we will refer to the Wild Hunt ending somehow, right? We will, for sure,
So they continue that story in The Witcher 3. That's cool.
because we pay a lot of respect to the canon. And for us, canon is Andrzej Sapkowski's
That's great.
literature and, of course, our games.
Yeah.
And this is one
Great. This is what I wanted.
common world. Happens a few years after the Wild Hunt. Geralt will appear. Who knows who else?
Yorvin.
Yeah, cool. I hope this old Witcher appears. I forgot his name. Yeah, Geralt's mentor.
Yeah, and so yeah, like for sure, seasoned players
They should show him in the new game. See what happened with him. And the Wolf School of Witchers too. What happened to Kaer Morhen?
will love it. And for sure, because this is an origin story, it's the very first that
Do you guys think that should be the case? Tell me in the comments. Or in the chat.
you will be able to play the very first time the Witcher by the choice, because that's series called, right? Then it will definitely be also a great experience for newcomers to start with the franchise, right?
The Witcher 3 has some of the best side quests ever made in a game. What is
Right.
that pressure like to live up to that, and how are you going to like outdo yourselves with the side quests in The Witcher 4?
I guess we are outdoing ourselves with each installments. So it doesn't matter actually which IP, yeah. So
Right.
this is what we always do. So try to push we are the storytellers, and I think that pushing the boundaries, finding the new way of approach, how we can take more of it, not necessary from the quantity of it, more of the quality of the complexity.
Yeah. They should get really good writers on them. On those quests. And they'll end up great.
Of the way that you feel you have an impact, how the world
I'm kind of worried because many CD Projekt Red employees went to do Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is good for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but is really bad for The Witcher 4 maybe. So I'm kind of worried there, but hopefully they have some good writers to make these great stories even better.
reacts, what are the consequences, how you can experience them, and on the side then, and on the path, on the main path as well, and how you can blur it so you doesn't even know where you're at the point, yeah, because it's just exciting on the same quality level. I think it's something that is one of the biggest challenge, aside of making sure that the all players with the same,
because they are all in the same region maybe in Europe, so it was really easy for CD Projekt employees to go to do Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think this happened when the Cyberpunk situation happened, when Cyberpunk flopped at the release.
and absolutely new audience are satisfied in the same way, not losing what we want to tell to the players, what we think they need, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And also, following on the next IP we've made after Witcher 3, which was Cyberpunk, of course, 2077. And then we also invested a lot into side quests, especially the ones that were like
Okay.
With the side NPCs.
Yeah.
Because there was because this was different IP, a little bit different.
Little
It
bit
was
different.
it was a noir. And then the main antagonist, of course, in the Cyberpunk was a city. So we actually wanted to kind of invest into the relationship, because you are not having that often the relationship in the city. But that's why the side content there in the Cyberpunk it was also, I would say, pretty invested by us. So this is what I wanted to say here is this is the way we deal.
Yeah.
This is the way we roll, and absolutely in Witcher 4 we want to actually continue this.
As I understand, in Cyberpunk, the side quests are related to the city because the city is like a character, the antagonist, the one we go against. And in The Witcher 4, in The Witcher 3, is really about the NPCs and their stories, kinda, and also about the world, but when it comes to monsters, but a bit less than Cyberpunk.
This flow. Yes.
Yeah.
I think about Tower Full of Mice all the time.
Yes.
Like really about the Blood Baron and his family, and spoilers, what happened to them. And yeah, so it's really more about the characters in that world, in The Witcher.
Yeah, talk about just kind of generally like what your kind of goals are with combat this time around. Or like, are you looking for a refinement or a reinventing, or like what is your direction? And based on the feedback from Witcher 3 specifically, yeah.
Oh yeah, like
I really love this mod, which lets you do lots of pirouettes, like in the trailer of The Witcher 3. In The Witcher 3, so they should do it more like this, I think, than what they did after they cut these pirouettes out. I love those, and they make it lots of sense, like I said in the last stream, because they also dodge and attack, and they also attack after that when they do those pirouettes. So hopefully we will see those again.
like for sure what we got from Witcher 3
Like in the E3 trailer of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
it was that like there were moments when the gameplay were a bit clunky
I forgot the mod's name.
here and there, right? And we took that lesson and we invested a lot in improving the gameplay in Cyberpunk. So, and of course there are absolutely two different IPs when it comes to this aspect for sure, but at the same time there are some principles that are
That one is an RPG, a shooter RPG, then the other is medieval RPG,
common, right?
medieval fantasy.
And like following that, we actually learned a lot as a studio after Cyberpunk, and there are some lessons learned after Witcher, the Hearts of Stone, the Blood and Wine, and all these IPs, Cyberpunk and Phantom Liberty, that we kind of want to apply in the new Witcher, right?
Great.
We want to definitely evolve.
They definitely need to learn from their mistakes, and maybe the mistakes of other studios, and try to do even better, because they're one of the greatest ones right now.
And there's no better opportunity to do it
They can do it.
because we have Siri right now, and
Right.
it's
They want
kind
to.
of a blank page. You know what I mean? It's not purely blank page, but it's a blank page, right? So we can that gives us more opportunity because you have one side super predefined character, but at the same time the character that is on her journey is actually in a way kind of on the way forming her own codex, you know, getting this experience, dealing with these monsters, and that gives us also an opportunity to expand a bit on what the Witcher hunting, what the monster hunting, what the Witchering really means. So that gives us some freedom. So I'm super happy with that choice because of that, maybe, and maybe
Yeah, and still bring up and push more for the monsters itself.
Right.
So
Yeah.
WoW is kind of a representation what you can expect. Of course, we will have more variety, and not all of them will be like that.
But it doesn't
you can
look
already
like
tell
anything.
They really should have like a big diversity of monsters, and each of them with really different ways to kill them, to really make the mind of the player work and not get bored, I guess, because this is an important element of these games.
Thing
It's
I've
like-
seen in
yeah,
Witcher 3,
yeah, and it's you know, it's intelligent and totally different, and you have some psychology think about it, and you need to approach it in a different way. And so we want to push a lot of effort on the monster hunt
it's like
because this is what The Witcher is
yeah
about.
yeah
right?
like that,
Nice.
that's
Yeah.
the center of that's the really center of the experiencing, like, you know, what the hunting is for
Yes,
the
yeah.
Witcher, right? That is exactly what you do for the coin. So we definitely like evolved the overall loop around the monster hunting, and we want to make these monsters like super organic and super like heavily context driven, meaning that we want to make it the way that you feel that this particular monster belongs to that particular habitat,
Right.
and this is not a surprise. So in that way, like if we'll keep it, and that's the goal, like
That's cool. I think it improves the atmosphere by a lot. What do you guys think?
super coherent and like following these principles, we want to make you, after let's say field, become a hunter. You're gonna play the hunter, but you'll become the hunter. Because after 10 hours spending in this game, 15, 20 hours, you will like look around and you will be simply more aware. You will like, you know, listen to the sound, spot some you know, environmental storytelling here and there, and that will make you feel that, oh, okay, this is what you're telling me, and this is what I can expect, and you'll have more conscious choices to be able to prepare yourself for potential combat. And then and I think this way we will boost this immersive factor even more.
Especially that we'll be introducing new regions.
Just a second.
I was just
They
gonna
are
ask about
connected.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you could tease any of the regions at all.
We can tell that the Stormford, so the village we presented in the trailer, it's far north.
Okay.
It's isolated.
Cool.
Yeah. It's a small village.
Small village.
Up to 35 people.
And it will be in the game.
Yeah.
Along many others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is like, for now it's.
And it kind of represents
But it
side
represents,
content, right? Like one of these, let's say we call it epic monster hunts.
Right. Yeah. In the press packet they sent over, you noted like some of the differences between just Ciri's personality and Geralt's, and how they look at the world differently. And I'm curious how that will sort of impact the.
Yeah, that should be another element of the game. Another big element of surprise from the game.
The interactive dialogue and all of that.
Oh yeah, like, you know, first of all, that's a great question. Like the way we write characters, like our stories are very, very like character driven, right? So like Ciri, as I said also before, Geralt is way more defined, right? He has his own codex, and he is like neutral, kind of, right? So he deals stuff. He's very, very he's a very pragmatic, right? Almost, right?
Yeah.
Ciri is character that she's still proving herself, and all at the same time she was like running away all her life.
Yeah.
And
she spent time in court.
Exactly. And that's fun fact is that the best time of her life she spent in Kaer Morhen. Which is like, dude, like it's wow, like so how heavy she has, you know, like that's crazy, right? And
but I think Geralt as well. His best times are in Kaer Morhen, because he was brought to it when he was a child too, and this is where his brothers are. So it will be a bit of a similarity there, I think.
And you can tell that you know,
in her character,
she is so much invested
to get out
that in anything she does, like let's say in trailer you can notice this, that there is not, let's say, even like the second thought of should I do it? No, I believe I have to do it. I do it right then, and I will deal with consequences. And in this case, actually, you know, she realized that she's not able to control everything around her. She did her best, but finally Mjolnir was killed by her, you know, people.
Yeah, we should really have choices where if we do something we have advantages and maybe some disadvantages, and if we do this other thing, the opposite of that first choice, we have advantages and disadvantages too. So we have advantages and disadvantages with any option we choose, so it's a really gray area of choice, and it increases the replayability by a lot. Like you cannot do like pure good or pure evil playthroughs, but you can do kind of good playthroughs and evil playthroughs, but not so much to the extreme, if that makes sense. Not to evil or to good, because everything has bad stuff happening and good stuff happening after you choose that, or more bad stuff if you want to do evil and a bit of good maybe, or gray area choices. That will be, and outcomes for every choice. That will be the perfect implementation of choices in this game, I think.
But yeah, as you can notice, like she is very determined character, very passionate, very.
Like not what Fable has, because I'm playing Fable 3 right now, and all Fable games has pure good or pure evil only. Like it's you can do like a neutral character, but it's not that fun, and it doesn't have gray area choices, and those are even better, I think, for a game that takes itself so serious, like the Witcher games. In a less serious game like Fable, yeah, you can do that. Like less of a gray area choice, you can do pure good or pure evil, but in a game that takes itself so serious, yeah, this will be better. Gray area choices will be better.
Very, I would say, hungry, like to prove herself, right? Not only prove, like I would even say that she wants to prove herself in her own eyes.
Yeah,
you know what
to
I mean?
herself.
Right.
Actually.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so is it enough? So I need to do better. Or
Yeah.
So,
So that's really cool. That makes this character super strong, and yeah.
and also that there is no neutral for her.
Yeah.
There's
She'll
always
always
an
choose,
opinion in the choice always.
Yeah.
And
She's
the and
invested.
the action
Oh, yeah,
investor.
yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, there should be a neutral, because related to what I said earlier, you should have close to neutral choices, and we should also have, like in Game of Thrones, characters that are not pure good or pure evil. They are like kind of a gray area character, exactly like Game of Thrones. So yeah, and if you ally with some of them, you don't ally with others, and so on. That will be a great, I think that will be a big bonus to a great story. But what do you guys think? They should do it like this or not? Like kind of what they did in The Witcher 3, but more of a gray area characters, NPCs, not like the bad ones, which are the Nilfgaard, and the good ones, or kind of the good ones, which are the Northern Kingdoms and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love her the dynamic and that she's more like unexpected, right?
But what I can see from the trailer is more of a great area NPCs, because they try to do good for that village in the trailer, and meaning good for them, meaning respecting their traditions of sacrificing someone from the village to the monsters, so the other ones don't die, the other villagers don't die. So I really like that what they showed in the trailer. They showed exactly what I'm saying right now, that they should implement.
And and the same goes with the actually consequences.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be similar, like just dialogue choices in a lot of conversations, like a similar system where you can just like pick a few things, or will there be any, refinements or changes to that?
You know, there are always some similarities, right?
Looking at our previous
there are some similarities between Witcher and Cyberpunk. You know, you have progressive lines, you have like, but generally, like as I said before, like there are no two lines that are the same. So like Ciri, as she's from the personality point of view, she's different. The way she's going to be written is definitely different, and the potential consequences and choices will exactly come from the bottom of her heart, right? So this is what I can say for now. There are some ideas to nuance things when it comes to choices, but there's going to be time for that to talk more.
Great.
Yeah.
I always love the like timed ones.
Oh yeah. So you don't even get to read. It's just like, okay, that one's fine. Okay.
I think they also should implement like some places where you can discover Easter eggs, secrets, maybe, and you can tie those together to discover a new story and stuff like that. Kind of like what Kingdom Come Deliverance did, like secret places that are related to stories or that make stories in the game. Kind of like collectibles, but don't do collectibles because they're already like outdated mechanism of games, like of Xbox 360 games or those generation like PlayStation 3 maybe. But you should do those for places. You discover these places that connect to each other, and you discover a new quest or story or whatever, or a new interesting fact about the world or stuff like that. That will enhance the world by a lot, I think.
And
What do you
then,
guys think?
yeah, I guess kind of overall, like what are the big
Do you think that that should be a cool idea?
takeaways from the past two games that you want to
Mhm.
address now, and like, what do you feel like your shortcomings were that you want to like do better on?
You mean for sure from maybe on my side it's a less
That's what I would do if I was a game developer.
about the design of the game itself, but how we work on that. So I guess that the biggest changes lately are we really want to make sure that the vision is there, so people understand what the game we are making, so how they can participate in that.
I think that's already there with the trailer.
And I think this is the most important thing. How
It represents pretty well. I think their ideas, from what I can see from this interview, I don't know if they represent the game really well because I don't know what it looks like right now, but we'll see later. I guess we can come again to these interviews and trailers and see how well it connects to the game,
to go to everybody
if it's the same vibe and everything.
to understand what it is all about, and it's within the project, but also for people that are outside of the project in other departments. So we are all very aligned to, and I think this is a great example, like with right now with marketing and us having this first beat right now to show you the series, to say we are back with the Witcher, and this is the world, but this is not the start of the campaign yet.
Right.
This is just a bit, and we have the whole strategy how to come back here. But so this is one of the things I think. So the vision and alignment when it comes to the overall strategy and what the goal, the common goals with us, with the team, with the board, with everybody. Yeah. So this is one thing. I guess the second big lesson is to be really honest when it comes to the communication and transparency, so to react as soon as possible, to make sure that we are aware about the consequences of the choices. There is always a cost for it, so, and we are all aware, and together we can come up with the best solution for the team, for the project, of course, as well. Yeah, we're also trying to build up the culture of being responsible, so the cross-functional teams are working together and understanding what the goals are, but also so we need to deliver together and also understand what the priorities on the project are. So maybe our team is not working on the most important thing. It's important for them, but maybe we can help the others if it's needed. So I guess things like that are quite a huge change. And also the one more to mention, I guess, is that even though that was nothing there at the beginning, we already can play it on console because this is something. So they're always working games, so it's always work and it's stable. Is something really important, and so we iterate very quickly on that, right? So,
They should really test their games really well before release on consoles and on everything they want to release on. Or like they did with Cyberpunk.
Yeah, many lessons, like Squisha mentioned, many lessons from the process point of view, right? And the creative side when it comes to keeping the vision alive all the time and coherent, understandable by everyone in the team. Because that's the key, especially with such a huge team, over 400 people. With that scale.
I'm looking at his shoulder patch. I wonder if that's like a Witcher school, like insignia, symbol, or whatever, or not.
Scale with that ambition that we have, like that's the key aspect that we try to cultivate on daily basis.
But already Phantom Liberty, when it comes to the release and the way it was made, it was already a step forward.
Right.
And we are just on the continuation because it's, from the Cyberpunk is already for years, so there's not time. So we are in a different place right now. Of course, still we can improve, but I guess this is the process, right?
You can always improve.
All the time, but I really like where we are, I guess.
You can always do better.
I hope our team too, right?
Seems like so.
Yeah, seems like so.
Can you just one last question about gameplay? Can you talk about the
if things go well, I think they have a more stable team which can do better and better games, learning from their ways of making games and mistakes. But if they do end up in a cyberpunk situation like in the 2020, it will be bad for the team again and for their stock price and everything, for the entire company. So they should do good and build on the team they already have to do even better games like The Witcher 5, Cyberpunk, maybe new Cyberpunk game, and so on.
The skill points and the mutagens and stuff is
one day, my friend. One day we're gonna meet again.
Anything else?
Potion and she's mutated.
Crafting? Will crafting return?
Not yet, man.
Not yet.
We're gonna for sure the gameplay part will come and we will geek out about gameplay at some point.
I wanna see gameplay.
point, dude, I promise.
I
Already.
loved the vineyard in Blood and Wine, so I'm hoping for some kind of player housing. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, all the tips all the way, more than welcome. We always listen with the community and everybody, so if we can use it. But I didn't need to share it that I was not aware that it will be always so tough to not answering the question, especially the one that we know the answer for. This is hard.
That's easy. Yeah, that's but don't say it loud because they're gonna pull your tongue,
Yeah.
No, but it's the strategy is made for the reason.
Yeah, it's worth the hype, but hopefully not too hyped. Have to still keep our hype in check, because you never know. Like, they have bad statistics in the last 5 years, and they release games. So yeah.
And I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming over here while you're here in town. And
Thank
I
you so
know
much.
Thank you for having us.
we're all struggling to stay awake right now with everything with the Game Awards, and particularly with you guys on different time zone and everything. So
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
yeah.
Guys.
See you next time. Good
Thank
luck.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
Okay. Also give a like and a sub to these guys if you want. The map is definitely more or less, when it comes to size, the amount of quests more or less the same. Kalemba said again, the game is going to be big, but also the ambition with the entire team is huge. So the first and foremost, we want to deliver a super compelling experience. Kalemba continued, saying again, quality over quantity, but definitely what we can promise, yes, this game is going to be pretty big. It's going to be big compared to everything we've prepared so far. Okay, great. There's no release date for The Witcher 4 just yet, but we do know that it will be developed in Unreal Engine 5 and P5, and it will mark the beginning of a new Witcher saga. Okay, let's also see this one. Is this the same or not? I don't think it is. No. Okay, Easy Allies, and this is the Neon Knight. Give a like and a sub to him if you want as well. Let's see it.
So, over the past few days, a ton of interesting Witcher 4 details have been revealed, and since I've been taking in all of it, every last interview article and everything in between, well, today I've gathered everything interesting and condensed it into a really to-the-point video. No filler, just the details that actually tell us something about what kind of game Witcher 4 is going to be.
Okay.
From info on romance to the return of Gwent to how CDPR plan to treat Geralt moving forward and whether he'll be a playable character in Witcher 4. Well, point is, there's a lot to get to, and what I've listed isn't even close to everything.
Okay.
To get started, though, CDPR have already been talking about how Witcher 4 is going to handle your past choices, the ones you made as Geralt, and the first
Damn, that's great. Like the Walking Dead Telltale series does.
of a few things they've said on the topic, this one from an IGN interview, is that none of series Witcher 3
It would be cool if the saves connect from The Witcher 3 to The Witcher 4. Like, choice-wise, at least. It would be really cool if you can connect those two games. And the choices you made in the 3 matter in the fourth game.
endings are going to be
Do you think it'll be kind of like this? Or at least you can select, like in the Walking Dead Telltale series, you can select in The Witcher 4 what choices you did in The Witcher 3 if you don't have the save anymore, the save file. What do you think the downsides to that will be, and the upsides?
invalidated in Witcher 4, and that no game canon will be broken when it
I think it will be a really good upside, because it will make choices made in the last game matter more for me. But yeah, downsides, it may be that you have to play The Witcher 3 if you never played it. So if you are too hyped for The Witcher 4, you have to play The Witcher 3. But you should also be able to play The Witcher 4 without playing The Witcher 3. Just select a few choices. Or say you didn't play The Witcher 3 and you start fresh or stuff like that. It'll be cool. Like, you can customize more the character by the choices you will do in the future in The Witcher 4 than what you did in The Witcher 3. That will be a cool mechanism.
comes to the fate of Ciri. Now, I assume what this means is whatever ending you prefer or ended up with, whether Ciri was a Witcher, Empress, or just plain missing and thought to be dead. Well, CDPR have now written
Spoilers.
Witcher 4, so she ends up deciding to be a Witcher eventually in all 3 scenarios. If you have mixed feelings on that, I don't necessarily disagree, but I will say that this is something Witcher 3 definitely leaves room for. In the Ciri disappears ending, there's a pretty clear hint that Ciri didn't really die, just that she went elsewhere for...
Okay, massive
Well, you see that
spoilers,
she's
so
clearly
go further.
unhappy, and she outright
'Cause I want to play the game and get those endings first.
says that she's rethinking her decision of ever getting into politics.
No, actually, just between you and me, I'm not certain I'm cut out to rule, govern, all that.
Witcher 4 to respect what came before it, including certain player choices from previous games. That was specifically mentioned. And they've also said there's a few-year gap between Witcher 3 and 4. So I do wonder if maybe we'll end up getting a cyberpunk-style prologue for Ciri leading up to her being a Witcher. AKA with the Empress ending, you'll get a prologue explaining how, you know, Ciri realized ruling wasn't for her and left it behind. With the Witcheress ending, maybe you'll see some of her early struggles being a non-mutated Witcher. And if you had the bad ending where she doesn't return at all, well, we could find out what she was even doing, because currently we have no idea what happened to Ciri post-ending in that ending. Really, when it comes to how CDPR are going to account for Witcher 3 choices, the Ciri stuff is interesting, but I'm more interested in how they deal with Geralt, because
I really hate those spoilers, but yeah, we have to comment on them, I guess.
what CDPR have said about the role he's going to play moving forward, well, we'll get to that in just a second. First, I do need to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, a very exciting one, Watcher of Realms. If you didn't know, Watcher of Realms is a fantasy RPG with real-time combat that's available on both PC and mobile. And they reached out to me because they're currently hosting a major Christmas giveaway event, so if you were ever going to try the game out, now would be a great time.
Oh, it's this strategy game, I think, for mobile. I think I installed it once, but I never played it. But it looks cool.
Watcher of Realms has over 200 heroes currently available, and this Christmas, just by logging in each day, you'll be able to win a ton of free summons to get you started with dozens of them. You can even unlock the legendary hero Callista and a brand new Christmas skin for the mage Elira. All you have to do is log in each day, and if there's a specific hero you have your eye on, Watcher of Realms' new Christmas event even has a special Christmas summoning pool that will allow you to choose your favorite hero and summon until you get them. If that's not enough, Watcher of Realms' newest hero, Sun Wukong, is also included in his own event, so you'll be able to unlock a new skin for him too. If interested, now is the perfect time to check out Watcher of Realms. Just click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to download the game for free on PC, Android, and iOS. Okay, to keep moving, CDPR in the past few days have said a few very interesting things about Geralt. For one, they confirmed that Geralt will be in the game, but that much was probably obvious. I mean, you can't really do a game about Ciri choosing to become a full-fledged mutated Witcher and not have Geralt involved. You have to at least get Geralt's reaction to that decision. Now, I will say, I think Geralt is going to be a much, much bigger part of this new saga than most people are expecting. As of Blood and Wine, Geralt is only in his early 60s, his exact age was revealed in the most recent book, and for a Witcher with their slowed aging, well, Geralt is still very young. He's not even close to halfway through his life, and the idea of him never leaving Corvo Bianco for 100, 200 years is more depressing to me than anything else. He deserves his rest whenever he wants it, but I think Geralt, and Yennefer for that matter, would get very bored doing nothing for years on end. So, in my opinion, Geralt...
Maybe they can join Ciri on some adventure. That will be cool to see.
And Yen, and
all three of them. And you can play, you can do tactics, tell them how they should do, like play with magic or with the sword, or you can combine. That's in my imagination at least.
Triss being involved in Ciri's new story is only natural. That said, if you're worried about CDPR giving Geralt the Golf Club treatment, surprisingly, they've already addressed that possibility. In a recent interview, one of the devs specifically said that we can expect Geralt to be around for a long time, and he singled out a moment from the books that very much implies Geralt to still be an active Witcher about 100 years post-Witcher 3.
That's great.
I don't think CDPR will...
But that means over 100 they are still really good at fighting, killing monsters and humans. They are still capable, so that's great. I thought after 100 years old they are kind of old and they are not that fit anymore. That's interesting to know.
We'll mess with that moment. Hopefully me saying that doesn't age horribly, but from all the
When do you think they are too old to fight and kill and do their job? Like at what age? Or was any of this discovered in the books? Was in the books or anything canon? They can tell us when they are too old to do this stuff anymore.
Interviews I've read, it sure seems like they still have a plan for Geralt and want him involved moving forward.
Can Yennefer keep him young? Like with magic spells or stuff like that?
They even mentioned him as a possible playable character in Witcher 4. Granted, what they said was that they couldn't confirm whether he'd be playable, but I would not at all be surprised to see Geralt get his...
I think he will be. Hopefully Yennefer too. Like Ciri was in The Witcher 3.
Own little Witcher 4, 5, 6 arc, one that coincides with and ties into whatever Ciri is up to. Geralt's involvement moving forward is going to be interesting though, especially seeing how they account for his/your choices in previous games. I think some decisions are unavoidable, like who he ends up with, Triss or Yennefer. They have to account for that. And
Yeah,
I also don't
Yeah.
see how they'll completely avoid the
that will be amazing and have really big consequences in the fourth game. And what you do with him in the fourth game, that will be amazing to see.
who rules what country situation. They've said Witcher 4 at least takes place in the far north, somewhere
Yeah.
cold, so probably Kovir for at least part of the game. But
Amazing. I love those winter atmosphere. Hopefully we get lots of winter in the game, like in RDR2. It makes the places seem more like mystic, like more interesting. I mean, like there are more things to uncover and stuff like that. The vibe is more mysterious. That's the word. That's the right word.
even north of Redania, I just don't see how they completely avoid mentioning who rules the Northern Realms,
Okay.
who rules Skellige, whether Ciri's dad is even alive or not, etc. That's a topic for another day, the war outcomes and other choices that kind of need to affect Witcher 4. I'm thinking of making a video specifically dedicated to which choices I think they need to account for moving forward and how they should do it, but, well, let me know if that sounds interesting. Anyway, to rapid fire through some other news from CDPR, it was mentioned that the development of
Also interact any way you want with the stream or with the videos I make after for me to make more. Thanks.
Witcher 4 was not influenced by the Netflix show. And well, you know how in Blood and Wine, Detlef has that pre-boss fight line where he says, if you believe in any gods, start praying now? Well, how about, if you believe in any gods, thank them for not allowing Netflix Witcher to influence Witcher 4.
That's
Now,
great.
to move on, CDPR have also seemingly confirmed that Gwent will
No DI, please.
be returning. No surprise there, honestly, but the game director on Witcher 4, Sebastian Kalemba, told GameSpot that they hear the fans and that they shouldn't worry. They know people want
People should keep their religious and sexual orientations to themselves, not try to force it on others. That's my take on it. And that's it. I'll not comment more on this.
Gwent 2.0, and they know it's a big part of this world. Also, not that this needs to be confirmed, but romance in Witcher 4 has been confirmed. Again, the game director is the source here. He said that romance will absolutely be a part of Witcher 4, and that they want anything they do there to be very compelling and meaningful, not just romance for the sake of romance.
Great.
Now, obviously, Ciri being
I love those when it happens the right way in the games.
who she is opens up a lot of possibilities. Ciri being someone who
But they should do it like in The Witcher 3. When you align with someone, you don't align with others. And still have gray areas, moral choices.
swings or, I guess, teleports both ways, so we'll have to see what CDPR come up with. A final few things though, in interviews devs have been talking quite a lot about Witcher 4's open world, and everything so far at least has been very reassuring, the kind of talk I want to hear. They've said in a few places at this point that Witcher 4's open world will be roughly the same size as Witcher 3's, and far more interesting and important, at least in my opinion, is this. In an interview just a couple of days ago, the game's narrative director said that they didn't look at Witcher 4's open world as needing to be bigger just for the sake of it, but instead they focused on
On deeper. They should be deeper, of course.
making it deeper and more. He also said that their ambition with crafting Witcher 4's open world was to have every piece of content be interesting and meaningful, and, well, you guys know this, almost entirely on the back of strong writing, Witcher 3 constantly managed to make some of the game's best moments out of what would be throwaway filler in other games. And from the sounds of it, CDPR plan to do the same with Witcher 4. Whether
They should keep things even more connected. And gray area choices and NPCs and everything like that. And world.
they succeed, we'll have to see, but the intent is there, which I was happy to hear because with how many Witcher games have been announced, my biggest concern was that we would slowly and sadly see the Assassin's Creedification of The Witcher, aka games
Or more of the same at least. More of the same like in The Witcher 3. Like similar things but not the same. Just similar. Would be great. Just don't do worse than this, I guess.
pumped out quickly with many hours of content, but nowhere near the depth or quality of a Witcher 3 or a Witcher 2. Now, the final news for today, if you remember that...
And I'm kind of worried about that because they don't have the same team like they did in 2010s when they made The Witcher 3.
coin that CDPR devs were tweeting out when they announced that Witcher 4 had entered full production. Well, just a few days ago, the other side of the coin that we hadn't seen before was revealed. And on it was a runic message which, when deciphered...
Oh, they enter full production. I thought they finished the production. Or they enter like post-production, like refining things only. But yeah, we have a bit to wait, I guess.
It says, days and nights pass and the blood remains the same. My gut reaction says this is referencing Ciri going through the Trial of the Grasses and her elder blood maybe not being affected by it quite the way she wants it
They
to.
should include more Polish and European legends into it. Folklore, I guess, that'll be awesome. Lots of myths into it. Stories that are told in Europe or that they were told, or myths they were told back in the medieval age. Make stories out of them and try to connect them, make them seem like a main quest like they did with The Witcher 3.
to be, because if you happen to watch my last video where I carefully went through all of the book lore regarding Ciri becoming a Witcher and female Witchers in general, whether they're even possible. Well, anyway, in that video, a Ciri theory I had is that part of her motivation for undergoing the Witcher mutations is her attempting to escape her destiny that's linked to her elder blood. And because of the way Witcher mutations interact with most people, you'd think it might work, but I'm getting the feeling it doesn't go her way, at least at the start of this new trilogy. I go into more depth in that video from the other day, but the prophecy that has dominated Ciri's life doesn't necessarily die with her, but the Witcher mutations provide a possible out, one that I'm guessing doesn't work. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more Witcher 4 coverage, I'd definitely appreciate it if you could leave this video a like.
Yeah, they should have lots of places like this one. It looks amazing. The vibe is really good. The vibe is really mysterious.
Really helps my content get out there. And similarly, if you want Witcher and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2
sub to
content
this guy.
in your sub box over the next few months, I think those two are going to be my
Critical of The Witcher 4 controversial trailer. Let's also watch this.
Very first cinematic trailer of The Witcher 4, which came out recently, and since I'm a little late on the subject and there is a lot to discuss,
No
I shall
problem.
not waste too much time on introductions and instead get straight to the point. Starting
Get
from
straight
the
to it.
beginning, which might be my favorite part of the entire trailer, even without the bathtub opening scene, a
Okay.
strong sense for the world of The Witcher is immediately conveyed by the grim atmosphere, the manner and the
So I can sub to
accent
this guy.
in which the father speaks to his daughter. We get a few glimpses of this mysterious Witcher preparing
Okay.
for something, and it's all beautiful and well
Love the graphics. 4K graphics.
crafted, and I love it. The location where these events take place remains unknown. Interviews with CDP
The trailer also tells us that this village is located in the far north of the Witcher world, but where exactly remains a mystery for now. I think at this stage we shouldn't say the exact location. This is Kalemba.
have revealed that it's somewhere to the far north. However, it does not seem like Skellige to me. Perhaps somewhere in northern Redania would be my guess. My assumption is based mostly on the clothing.
That'll be cool.
These white and red patterns on the
Really traditional clothing.
ceremonial dress of the young
Should give a clue where the action is taking place, of course.
girl are very reminiscent of what we often see in traditional Slavic costumes.
Yep.
You can find them here in Bulgaria, further north as well, in Russia.
They look amazing. I love the contrast between the red elements and the black ones. Yeah, they really look great. I love them more than the Romanian ones, which look kind of similar, but they also have a lot more colors. These look more simpler, but I guess they get dirty faster because they have white. They are mostly white. Really good, look great. All of them.
Poland, Ukraine, and so on. They can be seen on male outfits as well, and on other pieces of embroidery which aren't related
Yeah, male ones are mostly white too.
to clothing. And since I get the impression that Redania is more often than not associated with Slavic things, I suspect that this quest might be taking place somewhere in that region. But back to
They were more red than white, Redania. I guess in the Witcher 3 series, which is not that much canon, but yeah.
the trailer, we have an emotional parting between the father and the daughter. There's a well-animated tear in her eye. But suddenly, the enigmatic Witcher is revealed, and it's none other than Ciri.
No!
Okay, there's a lot to talk about here. First off, she looks a little different, doesn't she?
Yeah.
In fact, I
Looks more polished, like I said before.
conducted a small experiment. I used my wife as an unsuspecting test subject. I called her over to take a look at something, and I showed her this picture. I
Okay.
cut out the double swords on the back to make it seem less Witcher related,
Okay. And he compared it with the older one from The Witcher 3.
although she knows everything about me is Witcher related, but regardless, I told her to have a look. So she looks for a moment and asks who this is. I say nothing and instead show her this one. She looks at it like she's beginning to see something familiar, and then I tell her to look at the scar, and she finally realizes who it is. But she claims that Ciri looks rather different here, a bit like a Viking, according to her. And I suppose there is some truth to it.
No, she looks more Polish than the Witcher 3 Ciri. Unpopular opinion, but look how women look in the Polish regions and how she looks right now. She looks more like them than the Witcher 3 Ciri looked. With the Witcher 3 Ciri looks, I don't know, she doesn't look European to me for some reason. Maybe the jawbone is not that big or something like that, but she doesn't look that much Polish to me.
She was more recognizable in the
Yeah, look at her. I don't know. I think she looks a bit Russian.
Gwent trailer, for example.
In the trailer at least. But not in the game. In the game she doesn't look. In the game she looks German to me or something, I don't know. Or American.
But there's nothing particularly wrong with that. It's a different game, a different engine. Yennefer originally looked rather different too in the early Witcher 3 trailers. And this rendition of Ciri is certainly not unpleasant to look at. So I think I'll get used to it if I have to. What I might not get used to, however, is her new voice.
Look at Vera, or that's her YouTube channel that I covered in the last video or stream. That is on YouTube. Ciri in The Witcher 4 looks more like her than Ciri in The Witcher 3.
Voice.
Back to the
And
village.
she's a Polish woman.
Go, now.
I absolutely prefer the sound of Ciri's original voice from The Witcher 3 to the one we hear in the trailer.
You chose her.
I love this one too. I love both of them, as far as the voice goes.
First of all, bollocks. Second, if you're going to speak of courage, at least address me directly and not through Geralt.
I don't know why the change was made. It is likely for technical reasons.
Contract reasons, maybe salary reasons, or maybe the other actress got into other projects
told
and she was busy.
That the Polish voice actress for Ciri remained unchanged, so it doesn't seem to be a creative decision. Some people have speculated that it's because Ciri has gotten older, but I'm not convinced. First, as I mentioned, the Polish voice has not changed, and also
the Polish voice. Only the English voice.
developer interviews indicate that these events
Several years have passed since the events of The Witcher 3 and it is now Ciri starting to take on the role of the Witcher.
take place several years after the end of the third game, and that we will get to experience the early stages of Ciri's life as a Witcher. So she cannot be much older than the last time we saw her, likely around 30 years old at the time of The Witcher 4 would be my guess. But even if she is older, the English actress who voiced Ciri in the third game was already in her 40s at the time. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, in real life, she is the same age as the actor who voices Geralt, and she is notably older than Yennefer. So I would love to hear her original English voice make a return for the actual game, if possible.
I've had enough of this. I won't be taken somewhere like a bundle. I will not sit and twiddle my thumbs. I am sick of waiting, sick of hiding.
And in terms of her physical appearance, I will admit, there truly is something about Ciri that feels a little off to me in the trailer. I cannot quite put my finger on it. It's likely a combination of her different voice, her slightly altered appearance, and general behavior, but when I think of Ciri, based on the books and the games, in addition to her feisty character, I also associate with her a degree of subtlety, of finesse, if you will, and of cunning. And her portrayal in the trailer lacks some of that. She comes across as a little brutish, and that may be an overstatement, rough around the edges, perhaps.
Yeah, that should be the case. This is more interesting to see what happens and what choices she makes.
And it may in fact be an intended side effect of the Witcher mutations. Perhaps in addition to losing her signature green eyes, she lost a piece of herself too. In any case, I would love to see some of those old qualities of hers in the actual game. Okay, with the physical characteristics out of the way, let us delve into more important things.
Yes, there are always more important things.
Like the fact that she's an actual Witcher now. I have made 2 or 3 videos long time ago talking about my expectations for the 4th game, and there were 2 things that I really did not wish to see. The first and more important one was Geralt making a return as the protagonist.
Character.
I know many people disagreed back then, and perhaps they still do.
But why? Maybe he wants some diversity in the choices and the gameplay?
Some of them went as far as to suggest that they will not play a Witcher game if it's not about Geralt. And while I do love Geralt,
So they want Geralt.
I am more than willing to finally let him rest. Every great story and character deserves...
Yeah, if it's a good story, maybe they can do a Geralt story again. But they should not drag his story and make it worse. That will be the worst thing ever, I guess. What do you guys think?
a proper ending. And I think CDPR did a splendid job in giving Geralt just that in The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Specifically in the Blood and Wine expansion, and even the 10th
They should know where to end it.
anniversary video. So I see no
This
reason.
is what I felt about World of Warcraft after they finished with Arthas. I felt like the story should have ended there, and they should have made like a Warcraft 2 or something.
Reason for the
At
developers
some point in 2010, I mean.
to drag him back and potentially ruin what they managed to accomplish rather beautifully. And luckily,
I don't necessarily feel the same thing about WoW right now.
Geralt is not the main character, so I'm happy about that. Now, the second, admittedly less important thing that I did not wish the developers to do was making one of the endings canon. And unfortunately, that has happened. Whether Ciri decided to leave and never return, or chose to become Empress, it hardly matters anymore, because one way or another, she is now a fully fledged Witcher in the fourth game.
They should have kept a little mystery there, I think, and not make one of the endings canon from The Witcher 3.
She carries the silver sword she got.
Because now the other endings don't matter. And people, when they get the other endings, they know it's like kind of fake, like it didn't happen. So yeah, they should have let a mystery there. Like, they should have left a little gap in the story, so you understand how you want the story in that portion of the story of the game when they implement that part of the story.
From Geralt during the ending where she becomes a Witcher, and more importantly, she has gone through the trial of the grasses. They might twist the other endings a little to make some sense of them. You know, things like she became an empress for a while, but ultimately changed her mind, or perhaps Ciri left, never to return, but at some point decided to return and become a Witcher anyway.
I'm still going for the gap in the story. They should have kept a little mystery there in that portion of the story.
Now, the interviews I mentioned suggest
Not make anything canon, but make any ending canon. So everybody goes with their ending, and they know it makes sense, kinda. Because now some endings don't make sense.
that CDPR have been planning to use Ciri as the new protagonist for quite some time. That it was a
There was an intention behind this choice. Kalemba said it was far from roulette. It wasn't random. I remember we had discussions 9 years ago. We were talking about who's next. The very, very instant answer was Ciri.
well thought out decision and not
Damn, this looks like a gothic party.
something they chose to do lightly or hastily, which is great. If they have major plans for her, I would love to see their vision fulfilled.
Okay.
On the other hand, however, it seems to me that the decision was made well after the third game was fully developed. Especially in light of my latest video. Do check it out if you haven't, though I must warn you, it's 3 hours long. But in it, I talk extensively about the very original story that CDPR wrote for The Witcher 3 more than 12 years ago, and even that story
The original story, Volume 1, shortened and streamlined. Original story, Volume 2, major rewrite, resembles the final game apart from the inclusion of several quests like the work quest line, Catriona Plague, final game. Okay, nice.
had the 3
Expansions.
distinct endings for Ciri. They were a little different. In fact, the ending where she becomes a Witcher was rather significantly different. The initial idea was for Ciri to ultimately turn away from the path, but she could also die or become Empress. And despite the countless changes that the story of the game went through over the many years of development, the same 3 general endings were still used in the final version of The Witcher 3. So there is a sense that the writers at CDPR felt rather strongly about these endings, and it is unfortunate that 2 of them have been disregarded.
'Tis a foul
I agree.
it is.
Now, I will admit that the ending where Ciri becomes a Witcher is indeed the most comfortable choice if you plan on making a new Witcher game where Ciri is the new Witcher. However, again, if they had these plans all along, why not adjust the endings accordingly? In any case, I shan't dwell on this any further. Ultimately, the Witcher games are rather notorious at this point for...
Or another option they could have is like kinda include all of these endings in one and make her go through all these steps like chronologically in time and then continue from there, from The Witcher 4. So you kinda make all of them canon in a way. That's not as good as leaving a gap in the mystery there, so everything is how the player wants. So all of these 3 endings are canon and they are important, but it's still better than making one of them canon and disregarding the other 2 endings, I guess.
Or having less than perfect continuity between installments. So
what do you think? How should they start the story in The Witcher 4, like related to the Witcher 3 ending?
if the writers and the artists and everyone at CDPR have a good story in mind, a vision they believe in, involving Ciri being a Witcher, then I'm happy to give it a try. And who knows, it might end up being wonderful just as The Witcher 3 is, despite not fully conforming to some parts of the previous games. The developers have actually spoken some more about Ciri versus Geralt as the main character, and I will come back to it a little later in the video. For now, let's talk about Ciri being an actual Witcher.
It will be also cool if she goes against her father in the game, like just for a bit, just to play against a real Witcher against Witcher, or against Yennefer. That will be cool. Maybe they can also go soft on this, like just a training bit or something like that. But I love to play like this. It will be a really tactical fight, I think.
Mutant, one that has gone through the trials and all that. My first question is, why the sandwich fuck did she need to do this? Why gamble with something that kills 7 out of 10 boys? Especially given that she already has these awesome powers. And don't tell me that the Elder Blood makes her immune. I don't like the Elder Blood as an excuse. What's more, there's a good indication that she may...
I don't like the Elder Blood being implemented as an overpowering element for her character. I don't like her being overpowered. It should be only implemented in specific parts of the game, which are just story bits that are scripted, and that's it. Not use them in the other parts of the game, like I said before.
She no longer have the power of the Elder Blood at all. She never uses any short-range teleportation during the fight, and there are no hints of Ciri having traveled through space or time. So it appears to me that she will no longer have the power that makes her so unique in the 4th game. How or why she lost
Maybe only in these story bits that are scripted.
it is a mystery. My
She will have them.
very first guess was that it's the result of going through the trial of the grasses. Because, you know, the mutagens affect you on a genetic level, and that's precisely the level at which the Elder Blood operates, so it can make sense. However, it doesn't really help answer the question of why she decided to do it in the first place, so perhaps CDPR will explain it away by saying that her power was depleted, essentially, when she used it to stop the White Frost. This,
Yeah, they can also do that. It's less overpowering.
in turn, could serve as part of the explanation for why Ciri chose to undergo the mutations, to
Yeah, this
basically
sounds a bit bad.
reclaim a piece of the power that she had lost. Now, is this reason enough
Come
for
on.
her to gamble with her life?
My mouse scroll
Probably
is bad.
not. Not to mention
Gone wrong.
that one does not simply become a Witcher. Mutagens are needed, people who know how to use them and administer them, magic is involved.
Yeah.
And so the next question is, who, in Melitele's name, would agree to help Ciri to do this to herself? none of her friends seemed
The Lynx school of Witchers, maybe.
particularly interested in creating more Witchers, least of all
For some reason. It would be cool to see their interest in this, in all of this.
turning Ciri, of all people, into a Witcher. Eskel and Lambert risked their lives to save Ciri. Lambert potentially dies while doing so. Geralt has obviously gone through hell and back for her. Vesemir actually died protecting her. Our dear darling Triss
Big
got
spoilers
herself tortured
I don't
to help us
really like
get
that.
information about Ciri. And Yennefer made all of Skellige hate her for similar reasons. So to
Damn, she
think
looks sexy here. She looks good.
that after everything I've listed, these
Yennefer.
people would simply decide to submit Ciri to the Witcher mutations and potentially kill her makes no sense. But Ciri is a stubborn lass. Perhaps she asked her friends. They said no. She got up,
I'm trying to forget all the spoilers.
told them to be gone and plow themselves, and left. She found herself some stray witchers, possibly from the School of the Cat, and a mage or two. Together they formed the School of the Lynx, and Ciri finally mutated herself against all reason. Is that what happened? I honestly don't know. Another scenario that occurred to me, which might support my hypothesis that the mutations stripped Ciri of her power,
This
is
is a
that
bit
she
long,
may have
so we'll
been
go fast.
forced into this. Perhaps she was kidnapped by a mage, who is perhaps in league with a rogue group of witchers. Of
Yeah.
course, that doesn't explain why she wears their medallion, assuming that they are the School of the Lynx. Perhaps she took over somehow. Who knows? The developers are keeping us in the dark on these matters, as far as I know, and that's fine. But we do need a good explanation for all of this, because much of it is highly questionable. However, another thing I will admit is that purely from a gameplay perspective, it would be hard to pull off a Witcher game where the main character has the power of Ciri from the ending of The Witcher 3. Balancing between sword fighting, usage of signs, time and space travel, and zipping all across the battlefield might be a bit too much. Also, CDPR are referring to the game as the start of a new saga, so despite being called The Witcher 3, sorry, I say Witcher and 3 comes so naturally afterwards, so despite being called The Witcher 4, it will likely serve as a soft reboot. And in such a case, it's always easier if the main character starts at a relatively low level of power. So I understand
Yeah, that should be the case. So we can customize and bring her up to the level she was in The Witcher 3. Or even more than that.
why
She should be playing we should be playing her in a tactical way, not just overpowering way.
they might wish to make Ciri
And these two don't connect. I think if you make her too overpowered, it cannot be too tactical and in reverse.
a little weaker. Again, if this was the intent all
Those two things don't kiss each other. Let's see.
along, they probably shouldn't have made her so strong at the end of the third game, but enough of that. Since I mentioned magic, the developers have made a comment on this moment, and as far as I understand from their wording, what Ciri does here is in fact magic, as in the sorceress type of magic.
My favorite type of magic.
It's not a Witcher sign. Some of you might question Ciri's use of such abilities, because she sort of relinquished her magical powers as well in the books. During that business in the Korath Desert with the unicorn, I was honestly under the impression that this is why Ciri never uses any
Unicorn cannot be imprisoned. You are the Lady of Words. No, I have no special talent. I have no control over anything, and I renounced my powers. The years ago, back in the desert. In the desert, you gave up only significant quackery. The power that is in your body, you cannot give up. Okay.
conventional magic in The Witcher 3, but I don't know what to think at this point. We'll just have to wait and see and hope for a satisfying explanation in the future. Moving on, here's another thing I noticed which perhaps should have been done differently. I feel like this trailer leans a little too heavily on showing us familiar imagery. Of course, there's nothing wrong with reminding us of the things we know and love, but to me, unlike previous Witcher trailers, this one does a bit too much of that. Let me give you several examples. We have an opening with a bathtub scene. Early on, we have a moment where the Witcher shows up and people are frightened. The Witcher then goes into a gloomy place to fight the monster, and we get a close-up of his creepy Witcher eyes after drinking a potion. Or her eyes, in this case. We have a scene where the Witcher is spinning a chain in front of a monster, anticipating its charge in order to sidestep and ensnare it. The Witcher is also bringing a monster's head to a group of humans, only to realize soon afterwards that they themselves are the true monsters because of the horrible way they treat one another.
That's a really good conclusion for a game. You a game is really good when it has those type of conclusions.
So horrible, in fact, that the Witcher cannot stand idly by
Or like subtle ways to understand it.
and decides to intervene, potentially killing some of them, and also letting them know verbally that they are indeed the true monsters.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Killing.
There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
Killing monsters. Good one. Just came out that way.
It's just something that made an impression on me, even the first time I watched it. Oh, and
That
one
was
more
like
thing, if I may,
an Easter egg of that other Witcher telling Geralt that he's killing monsters.
was this brief moment
Yeah, I forgot to ask. I don't want spoilers for that. Already got massive spoilers from these videos.
where I think
I have to forget everything.
they forgot to animate the young woman's face. I think I already said that I loved how she cried during the separation with her father, but moments later, when Ciri
Yeah, me too. This is so detailed.
tries to stop her from
Hopefully the in-game part is maybe not as much detail, but still very detailed. Because I don't think it can be like a trailer, but still very detailed. Lots more detail than Witcher 3.
sacrificing herself, she snaps back and exclaims how she must do this, she must save her people. And at this moment, the camera cuts to the girl's face, and she has this wide-eyed, blank expression that does not fit the tone of her voice or the scene at all.
Yeah, for a bit, I agree. She has a bland face in that part of the trailer.
Don't get me wrong, the trailer looks great otherwise,
Yeah.
and there is good facial animation in general, for Ciri especially, but I think something went wrong here.
Nay! I must save them! Save the village!
Okay, enough of that. Let's move on to
We got a bit lazy there.
more important topics and take a look at the actual story that unfolds in the trailer, because I do have a small piece of criticism for that as well. Again, generally speaking, I love it. It is very fitting for the themes and the tone of the quests in the Witcher games. We have some heavy, dramatic, and possibly unforeseen consequences from our choices in the end, you know, with the girl dying, and it's great. In fact, the trailer seems to depict actual events from the game, perhaps a certain Witcher contract, and it reminds me a lot of the quest in Skellige, where you can side with the Leshen. I've made a video about it, it's called In the Heart of the Woods, and in short, it's about this secluded village which has made a kind of unspoken pact with an ancient Leshen who lives nearby. You can either kill it or make an offering to it, and depending on your choices, people can live or die, you might be forced to kill some of them, and so on. It's a great quest, and it also has something that to me is essential, but we don't really get to see in the trailer. Let me try to explain. So, during the quest with the Leshen, we hear stories. They tell us how this village was the birthplace of some of the best hunters and most fierce warriors, how it has stood the test of time, despite the most dire of conditions, and raids, and all sorts of trouble. And there is a strong indication that despite the Leshen killing people from time to time, this questionable relationship with it may be the reason why the village hasn't fallen yet. And some of the locals believe that. Others, however, think it's nonsense, and we, Geralt and the players, really aren't sure. There is a degree of doubt and tension. Actually, as far as I know, the initial plan for that quest was that if you chose to kill the Leshen, the village would indeed end up destroyed by monsters sometime later in the game.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to the
That's
trailer
cool.
of The Witcher 4. Like the quest with the Leshen, we have the heavy dramatic stuff at the end. But what we miss is something that makes Ciri's choice genuinely difficult before we even know the consequences. As far as we can see in the trailer, we have an isolated village somewhere up north, full of people who believe in some suspicious ritual and are willing to sacrifice a girl to a monster. There is hardly any reason for Ciri not to intervene and try to save her. You know, no real tension to challenge us and make us doubt. Consider that perhaps letting the girl die.
That is really good if something really bad happens. If you kill the monster, and also happens if you don't kill it, but it's even worse, makes it even a more gray area choice.
It might be a better choice somehow.
Good for replayability.
Now, it may be that the actual quest in the game has more to it than it seems in the trailer. As I mentioned, we hear the girl claiming that she's doing this to save the village. The people call it tradition, the will of the gods.
Well, let's say you kill this monster and more of them come out and they destroy the village later, but much later in the game, or you just let this monster destroy the village right away. So, more of a gray area choice where your choice matter, but still some good and bad thing happen at the same time. Either way you choose.
So it's highly likely that there is in fact deeper meaning behind these rituals than merely satiating the appetite of a monster once in a while. But to my surprise, we never got the chance to learn anything more in the trailer. And speaking of things that surprised me, I'd like to discuss one statement by CDPR during the interviews I mentioned earlier. They have said on a couple of occasions that Ciri, unlike Geralt as the main character, presents many unique opportunities.
Is younger than Geralt. Ciri players will have more freedom to define her character in a way they couldn't before. This also affords the developers more space to explore Ciri character, more room to be able to tell different stories.
And
Awesome.
a lot of freedom to both the writers and the players.
I agree. There's more space like this for creativity.
To mold and develop her character throughout the game, and generally to do things with her that would not have been possible with Geralt, due to the fact that he is so well established already. And while I did not wish Geralt to be the main character, I am not convinced that Ciri is so much better than him in that regard. It is true that she is a lot younger, and generally speaking, younger characters can be a lot more chaotic, perhaps more susceptible to changing their minds and making all kinds of choices, and basically have a more flexible personality and values. However, I'm not convinced that this applies to Ciri specifically, certainly not to such a large extent. She may be 30 years old, or however old she is, but she has had a ton of characterization in the Witcher books. Lots of screen time, or page time, I suppose, lots of dialogue and interactions with all kinds of characters. She's gone through many adventures, dealt with so many issues, and this has been a constant theme for her character since she was 10 years old. She's been a princess, a refugee, a witcher in training, a freaking criminal. Additionally, she's been hurt.
Damn, those look good. They're kinda in the game too.
10 years old. She's been a princess, a refugee, a witcher in training, a freaking...
This leather armor looks really... Clothing looks really great with the green here on the left. This one in the middle too. They look a bit like pirates.
Criminal. Additionally, she's been hurt a lot, both physically and emotionally. That has left many scars on her, both visible and invisible. And all this before we even bring up the countless times she has traveled through space and time, and the stuff she's done with the NL, and living on different worlds, and saving our world. And yeah, Ciri may be young, but her character, her personality, her mind, all that has been pretty well formed, I would say. And while I'm excited to see what CDPR does with her, it's difficult for me to agree that an unprecedented level of freedom will come along with the transition from Geralt to Ciri. Okay, what else haven't I covered? I haven't talked about the monster. It is apparently from Serbian folklore, and despite the Serbians being our neighbors, I will admit that I hadn't heard of it until I watched the trailer. Perhaps my Serbian viewers can write some more about it in the comments. This is what they call it. I'm not sure whether in Serbian the stress is at the start of the word or the end, so the correct pronunciation should be either bauk or bauk. Bauk probably sounds weird
not so
to
important, I guess.
English-speaking people, but from a Bulgarian perspective, especially if it's related to the sound that the monster makes, it might make sense. But again, I'm sure the Serbians will let us know. Someone on Discord said that
It does like a boo. That's the pronunciation.
the trailer depiction of the monster reminds him of the cachet in Gwent. That one is usually Russian in origin. I'm not sure if there was any inspiration here, but the environment certainly looks similar. Another thing I should probably address is that there has been some discussion about whether a woman should be the main character of The Witcher 4. On that
Why not?
subject, I absolutely loved Queen Meve. She is, of course, the main
If they don't do DI stuff, it's great.
character of Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales. She's the one who made Geralt a knight during the famous Battle of the Bridge. But in the game, she was very well written, exceptionally well voiced. She had firmer and softer sides. She was a leader and a mother and had to make hard choices. And she looked good too. I would love to see Queen Meve make an appearance in The Witcher 4, or maybe get another game for herself. Why not? But you might say Thronebreaker was a different game. What about The Witcher specifically? Okay, here's the thing. Geralt is strong but smart. He doesn't talk much, but turns into a proper philosopher when he needs to.
The right of witchers to live and function in this world has fallen out of balance, because the struggle between good and evil now plays out on a different battlefield with different
The lip syncing is so weird, seeing these old graphics and relating them to the voice.
rules.
He's really tough, but also
After seeing The Witcher 3 graphics.
sensitive deep down. He is the quintessential
I still think it's a great game. Cannot wait to play all these remakes when they come out.
professional, a true master of his craft. He is deeply in love and his heart is devoted but he also sleeps with all the beautiful women he meets.
My, oh my.
Missed
This is a beautiful woman, okay?
you.
And of course, he's a remarkable father. And so,
That was funny as hell.
in a way, you could say that he's a bit of a male power fantasy, which I do not mind at all. As I said, I love Geralt. But
Yeah.
with this in mind, especially in a video game format, I can see how it might be difficult to recapture the spirit of The Witcher with a female character.
Maybe the way the author, Andrei Sapkowski, imagined himself in a fantasy kind of setting.
You know, it's like... what is it like? What is a very womanly character? Jane Eyre, perhaps? While not necessarily similar to Geralt, her story, the
I don't know which one she is, what she plays, what she does in the story, I mean.
impression it leaves, and the ideas it conveys cannot really work if she was a young man instead. Careful
Oh, is the one from the trailer? From the Witcher 3 trailer?
adjustments would need to be made, and perhaps this is exactly what the developers at CDPR plan on doing
Like a vampire thing? Vampire woman?
with The Witcher 4. Again, I love the female lead in Thronebreaker, and if Ciri ends up being just as good, albeit in a different way, then I'm looking forward to it. Finally, I'd like to talk a bit about the idea of a brand new character versus an already established one. It is now certain that we're getting Ciri, so this will be more hypothetical, but I wanted to respond to a certain school of thought, or at least a recent trend in the comments, which claims that Ciri, as a protagonist, is far better than someone new, someone unknown, possibly nameless, and
Yeah, I agree. Because you are more familiar with the games. Like you can connect better Witcher 3 to the Witcher 4 than having someone new, and you customize it, and that's it. Like I said previously in the previous stream.
so on. I disagree with that. What matters
Well, let's see, he's a great man.
is that each scenario is developed properly. For example,
His argument, I mean.
my favorite story-driven game of all time is The Witcher 3, in case you didn't know.
And that has a pre-made character.
It is a clear
It's not custom made.
case of the pre-established character. Not only are there two previous games with Geralt,
the video game developed here in Poland that's won fans the world over, The Witcher.
but a whole bunch of books about him too. And yet, before I played The Witcher 3, my top favorite one was Dragon Age Origins.
Can't wait to play this one too. I never played it. I heard those were the times. They were great games in their time.
Which, as the name suggests, is a kind of origin story. You start with a fairly young, barely established character, one who gets up to all sorts of things, and I love it. Additionally, having a new, nameless character doesn't necessarily mean you can't have a rich lore centered around you. A great example is Planescape Torment. It's a bit of an old and dated game, perhaps more than a bit, but it's a hidden gem if you have the time and patience for it. And you can also have something like the Mass Effect series, which I would classify as a hybrid. While you have a name in the first game, that name doesn't really mean much. However, by the time you get to the third game, with which, by the way, I have plenty of issues, but one thing it does really well is that by the time you get to
Don't spoil it,
you
please.
have become a living legend. And all the character development and events that make up who you've become take place over the course of the first two games.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you have if you made a custom character in The Witcher 4, you cannot connect it to The Witcher 3, and it means less. So I don't agree with his opinion. I mean, I agree with his Mass Effect opinion, but I don't agree that a custom-made character is better than the character we've seen before in The Witcher 3. Especially if you want to have the same vibes in The Witcher 4 as in The Witcher 3 and connect those games easier.
So, lots of types of main characters can work if done properly, and I firmly disagree.
Yeah, they can work, but they don't feel familiar if you make a custom-made one from zero in The Witcher 4, which you didn't have in The Witcher 3. Like, if you didn't have that character in The Witcher 3 at all, I mean.
Ciri is necessarily better than, say, the nameless Viking-looking girl from the School of the Lynx, who kind of looks like Ciri. And I believe the only thing I haven't covered is the music. There is a potentially massive change. We have a different composer, though not all that different. He was heavily involved in Cyberpunk as well.
I don't think that's a big problem if we have the same kind of music, the same vibe from the music as The Witcher 3. It will still feel familiar. So yeah, there are so many notes you can play. So yeah, you can get the same vibe, maybe kind of the same style as The Witcher 3 music, and you feel familiar with it already.
as well as Gwent and Thronebreaker, and all of these have great soundtracks. I
Mhm.
often use Thronebreaker music in my videos. Knowing myself, I'm probably playing one right now in the background. So I am a little worried. I mean, I've grown so used to the music of The Witcher that I can barely listen to my own voice
Mhm.
without Witcher music playing behind it. But
Yeah, it sounds unique. It sounds medieval European. Gives medieval European vibes. So that's really great.
music in the trailer is very fitting, and I look forward to seeing and hearing what they come up with for The Witcher 4. Only listening to this video, do have a look at the screen to see the names of the composers because I won't attempt to pronounce them. And with that said, I believe we're done for now.
I won't try either to pronounce them.
Let me know what you think of everything I talked about. You can give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and if not, I thank you very much for watching anyway.
Like and
Special
subscribe
thanks
if
to
you
my
want.
support.
This guy. And there's one more.
All right, boys and girls, it's time to talk about The Witcher 4.
I think this is the last one. Okay. Let's also watch this one. That's it for today. Subscribe and like to this guy.
Game director and
If you want.
narrative director both finally responding to the backlash that has happened over The Witcher 4. As you guys are aware, Ciri is not exactly the most loved person right now, and for a multitude of reasons. It's not just because she's ugly. Some people think she's ugly. I'm not in that camp, but I understand why some people might think so. Some people are angry over the lore changes that are so blatant, over the fact that Ciri was never a Witcher ever, and they decided to now make her a Witcher in this game for reasons, whatever that reason may be. Ultimately, whatever camp you sit in, people are not exactly very happy right now with The Witcher 4 for a multitude of reasons. But with that being said, all the backlash they were pretty quiet about up until now, where they finally have decided to talk about it.
I have all the emotions right now. Sorry, but I couldn't see through the tears anymore.
Bruh.
Okay, back to it.
Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to keep in mind CD Projekt Red right now used to be a company that a lot of people loved, and some people still love. I mean, at the end of the day, you're always going to have your shills, and I understand that. But with CD Projekt Red especially, they were beloved by everybody for the most part, including myself. I was a huge fan of CD Projekt Red, and then what ended up happening with Cyberpunk was a major turnoff for me, to the point where now I keep them at an arm's length. They're not exactly in the full, ignore category like Bethesda is for me with their multitude of broken games, and I basically only buy their games when it's on sale for like, what, $5? But still, CD Projekt Red isn't quite there yet, but considering how woke they're becoming in terms of a studio and how they're deciding to make certain decisions that seem to be not in the best of faith, I gotta start keeping them at an arm's length, especially with Cyberpunk and that debacle. So let's get into this article, guys, from Phantom Pulse. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says The Witcher 4 game director and narrative director respond to trailer backlash and criticism. In an interview with Eurogamer, Weber and game director Sebastian Kalemba were asked about the backlash the game is receiving after it was revealed that Ciri would be the main protagonist. Weber asked, I think there's many valid worries and responses, because I think a lot of them come out of passion, and I think a lot of those questions are also questions that we asked ourselves. So we really again say that we are beholden to the lore, the canon of the books by Andrzej Sapkowski, the 3 previous Witcher games, and we want to take that seriously, and we really want to respect that. So all the answers we basically want to give in The Witcher 4 are in line with this attitude. We're not suddenly making up stuff just because we want to. We really want to take these things seriously. Okay, number one, that response is not a bad response. I just want to be very fair here, okay? It's not a bad response, and I think if it was any other studio that we didn't know any better, I think that would be ultimately an okay response to have, and we'll kind of play the wait and see game to see if they're full of shit, right? Because I want the shills to understand that just because a developer says something doesn't make it true. We have seen so many different examples of developers being caught in lies throughout the last year or so that it would make most people's heads spin. So let's not sit here and pretend that because they're saying we're going to take it seriously, that suddenly that means that it's actually...
We'll see when the reviews come. That will be the first time when we really see what the game is like.
Going to be, taken seriously. Look at Rings of Power, for example. They said, oh, we went back to the books.
If it respects the canon from the books, or if it at least is a good story, if it doesn't respect the canon from the books. Yeah.
Back to the books. We're going to take the...
If it will have DI and stuff like that, and so on. If the gameplay is good, if the graphics are good.
More seriously. And they shit all over that show. So let's be honest here. It doesn't necessarily...
Words don't matter that much from devs nowadays. Especially because, I mean, in general, they lie so much.
Mean they're telling the truth, but
and they did lie in 2020, at least.
Get what he's saying, and I respect a little bit of what he's saying. It just doesn't come off as very authentic, because then I remember, well, this is CD Projekt Red, right? This is a company that has gone down the rabbit hole so bad in terms of that they are giving people. I don't even want to get into it. We've gone over all of the fucking like period time off stuff that they've been giving their employees and whatnot, all of the trans ideology stuff that they have. It's insane. Anyway, continue. So I can really understand that some people,
Yeah, that's what I mean too.
you know, might have wished to play another game with Geralt. Like I said myself, I could make games about Geralt until the day I die, and I would probably die happy. But I think for me, and I think for all of us at CD Projekt Red, it's also just really exciting to see all the opportunities that Siri brings us, both where
Yeah, they still have to diversify a little to keep things interesting, I think.
character and also by the virtue of who she is.
Do you think diversifying is necessary in this series?
Is what we can do with her in terms of gameplay as well, he added. So I think the best answer for us, for those people that are really worried right now, is to basically show them when we are ready that we really do this well and with care. And I think I hope we can then convince them with the game itself, because I think actions speak a lot louder than words. Okay, so listen, the guy's speaking fucking very well. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's speaking very well here, and I can appreciate that he's saying that the game is going to speak for itself. And at this point, I think that's where we're at in terms of Witcher. Even if the people, listen, there's some people that are going to completely ignore this game because they think Ciri is ugly. Fine, whatever, that's up to them. But there's going to be people out there that are going to ignore this.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if the gameplay is good and the story is great. For me, anyhow. Does it matter for you guys?
Game because of the lore-breaking aspect of making Ciri a Witcher, and I was going to be one of those people. And at this point,
I don't care if the story is interesting. I don't care if they do that. They make Ciri a Witcher, and I think it's even better because we have more stories. If the story is good, you have this story of Ciri becoming a Witcher in The Witcher 4. Then you have the book, the story in the book when she's not a Witcher, and all of those are great. You get double the stories. I mean, you get double the great stories you get from all those types of media, if that makes sense. Kinda from the TV series also, because I like this. I love it, even though it has lots of DI in the third season, I guess, or the last season, third season, because now they come up with the fourth season. But yeah.
Now it's basically a wait and see for me when it comes to Witcher 4. I really don't trust CD Projekt Red at all. I don't trust them as far as I can fucking throw them, and I can't throw them very far. So at this point, I think it's going to be one of those things where we're going to have to wait and see.
Yep.
But in terms of making games about Geralt until the day he dies, I mean, there would have been gamers that would have loved to play as Geralt until the day they die. So it's like it's something that would have been very easy money, a great business decision. It could have definitely helped CD Projekt Red return to form after the whole debacle.
I guess for some people, it's just enough to have more of the same, with a little diversification maybe.
With Cyberpunk, but now at this point,
The Witcher 4,
you got the Cyberpunk debacle. Now you got the backlash with Witcher 4. I don't know. PR for CD Projekt Red is not very good right now. And yes, actions do speak louder than words. And unfortunately, your actions right now,
they're not as believable anymore, I guess.
Now, as a studio, are speaking volumes over the last couple of years. Kalimba also answered, yeah, well said. And on top of that, just please remember that we are also not only developers, but we're also gamers, right? And you know, we've started with the second protagonist already in the Wild Hunt. And so there was already a tease. So we really are all about making sure such calls are very educated calls. And we really believe, as Philip already said, that we also have so much of a great story to tell with Ciri, and she deserves that. And again, I understand she was a protagonist. She was a playable character in Witcher 3. I get that. I think her skills were very cool and interesting and different. The fact that she was teleporting all over the freaking screen and whatnot was definitely cool. But at the end of the day, Ciri was not a Witcher, right? Ciri was not a Witcher because she didn't have to be a Witcher. Ciri was different. She was special. She was actually the key to everything. You know what I mean? Like the actual real key to everything story that was this.
Yeah, I agree to his side of the story. Like, she was so powerful that she didn't need to become a Witcher. But yeah, I like my argument better. Like, you have double the great stories if they do a great job with this story, and that will be even more awesome.
Designed by Andrzej Sapkowski, and you're turning her into a basic bitch Witcher just doesn't really seem like the route that you should be taking for a character that was built up to be something great.
Why not? I don't agree. She can be even greater becoming a Witcher, and she'll do her like Messiah, elder blood type of thing also, but being even more powerful as a Witcher too.
Greater than a Witcher.
Because being a Witcher also makes the game more tactical than just being an overpowered woman. I think that's a strong argument too for a new game. Just having an overpowered character throughout the entire game, throughout The Witcher 4, is not as appealing to me anyhow.
And that's what a lot of people have in terms of issues with Ciri being displayed as a Witcher. However, earlier in the interview, when asked how they would approach the various endings,
when she's the only one like that, in that universe right now.
From Witcher 3, specifically the ones where Ciri does not become a Witcher. Weber said that he cannot provide any details. He shared, so we can't exactly say how we're going to handle it. This is something that we want to reveal later. What I can say is that we really want to respect everything that came before, that being the books by Andrzej Sapkowski and all 3 Witcher games, and that, of course, should also include some of the most important choices the player made there. But exactly how we, reveal, how we handle all of these things, this will be part of the story that we will tell in Polaris, so I think that we have to talk about how we do it a little bit later. Yeah, they're going to keep the big reveal about how she became a Witcher. They're going to keep that, tight to the chest until the game eventually comes out. I'm sure it's not going to be anything grand. I'm sure it's not going to be this magic explanation. I'm sure it's just going to be that she's going to girl boss her way through the fucking thing. She's going to girl boss her way through the Trial of the Grasses. They're going to use her elder blood as a means for the ability of why she was able to do it and become the first female Witcher, canonically not even canonically because the games aren't canon, but still the first female Witcher to happen in their game. And it's not really going to be that grand of an explanation. I really think that people that are looking for a super explanation, they're not going to get one. So if that's what you're looking for, I would probably walk away from that idea. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate if you get to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.
Okay, give a like and subscribe to this guy if you want, if you like his video. And thank you for watching. Oops. I'm Pluvia Aeterna and I'm out. Interact anyway with the stream or the videos after I make them and publish them on YouTube. If you want for me to make some more of this. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. See you guys next time.